crack, and it's the bullpen. Hugh, a lot to talk about today. And, big picture, they won 2 out of 3 this weekend, right?
Yeah.
It should be I heard the morning show was discussing positive, negative. How do you feel about the weekend?
Yeah.
Well, they did win 2 out of 3, which is probably what we would have said when we left on Friday. Get 2 out of 3. But, Hugh, it's the way they won 2 out of 3, where they dominated on Friday, where Wheeler was great, and Harper and Schwarber. Great night on Friday in the City Connect. And then Saturday, they're winning that game 11-4. And it's like, all right, we got this. A blowout of the Marlins. Let's get the sweep on Easter with Jesus. And then they almost lose that game on Saturday because Jordan Romano just took a match to kerosene and just almost lit the whole place on fire. Then yesterday, they get a good start out of Luzardo. They get good offense in the first inning. And, Hugh, this bullpen rears its ugly head again. They blew that game yesterday. I mean, Hugh, they almost lost 2 out of 3 to the Marlins for one reason. This bullpen right now, and I feel like this is Groundhog Day for us because we keep talking about it. Hugh, they've got an issue down there. I mean, They have 3 guys right now that Topper trusts, and the problem is he keeps using them every day.
They're getting a lot of run. They're getting a lot of burn.
Yeah, and now we're wearing them out. I think that was the problem, part of the reason yesterday that Kirkland didn't pitch well. They got a real issue here. Because how do you feel right now about the weekend and the team? Because 2 out of 3 was great, but, man, that bullpen, they almost lost 2 out of 3 of the Marlins.
Oh, and there was some errors in the field. Rojas made a few. Some other guys, Stott made a few.
Stott had a bad moment, yeah.
I look at it like this, Joe, and this is how I honestly thought about it. Initially, when I saw it, I was like, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
But
it's like, man, I started thinking about it like football. Hey, you might need that game.
Yeah.
Like that might be one of those games that you need. And it's a tomato can.
The Marlins are a tomato can, yeah.
Like, that fits in this situation. The tomato tan.
And here we go.
Yeah, the tomato tan fits in this situation. So you got to get that win, man. And that's what made it unfortunate. But at the end of the day, you won the series, but you should have won that game yesterday.
Yes. All right, so we don't just present problems, we present solutions on the Midday Show. And, Hugh, I've been listening, since the game ended yesterday. Buzz was actually hosting last night. I heard him a little bit. I heard the morning show today. And
no, Buzz was hosting.
He was hosting last night.
Every weekend.
Look at you. I mean, I know it's every weekend, but I'm like, damn, Buzz, you.
Well, he had to come back early.
Yeah, you pulling an all-nighter.
He's doing a lot of work here.
You must ain't got no girlfriends.
He does have a girlfriend.
You do?
Yeah,
Is she okay? Is she okay with this?
Yeah, she's okay with it.
He's got to make the bucks.
Good. Look at God. Look at God.
Look at God. Well, unfortunately, God's not looking at this bullpen right now. If he is, he's turning away from it. I can't look at it either. But, Hugh, they have an issue right now. We all agree, right? We're beyond saying the bullpen's not an issue. It is. And I keep hearing a lot of people say, well, what are they going to do? They're going to have to do this. They're going to have to do that. They're going to have to trade for somebody. They're going to have to cross their fingers. No, there's a solution here. And all it takes is getting a little bit uncomfortable. There is a solution to the Phillies' bullpen problems that is clear as day to me.
What you got?
They have one of the best pitchers on the planet Earth right now, and he's in Clearwater, Florida, and his name is Andrew Painter. And I understand the idea is he's a starter, right? And he's the next. I mean, the first time I looked at him, hard S. Starter. I understand what he is and what he's supposed to be. And Hugh, first time I watched him, I thought he looked like Justin Verlander. I think he could be a special pitcher. But is the goal of this season to develop players, or is the goal of this season to win the World Series? For me, it's to win the World Series. And I look at this bullpen, and I think it could stop them from winning the World Series. We know what their offense is. It's good enough to make the playoffs, certainly. We know what their starting pitching is. They have 3 big-time starting pitchers right now with Wheeler and Sanchez and Luzardo. 3 big-time starting pitchers. They have one in Nola who's struggled, but I think we all think eventually.
Yeah, he got to come up big tonight, though.
Yeah, big one against the Mets. But Aaron Nola, you know what? All right, he's the 4th pitcher. I think he'll figure it out enough. And in the 5th spot, your guy Taiwan and hopefully soon Ranger, they could get by there. What they don't have is a bullpen that is reliable. And Andrew Painter, I understand he's coming off of surgery and they want to develop him. But right now, he's healthy enough to pitch 2 and 3 innings at a pop. He just did it on Friday night down in Clearwater. And I'm looking at this, and I feel like the answer's right in front of them. Instead of waiting to the trade deadline and crossing your fingers you get someone or trading more prospect capital to get a relief pitcher, start transitioning Painter to the bullpen. The guy throws 100 miles an hour. He dominates every level he goes at. There's no doubt in my mind he could come up here, Hugh, and be a big-time relief pitcher. And I think he could be the key to winning the World Series this year. 215-592-9494. I've seen this story a million times in baseball. Brett Myers did this back in the day. I mean, Adam Wainwright did this. Jonathan Papelbon started as a starter. He was so good in the bullpen, he didn't leave for 15 years. Chris Sale came up in the bullpen, went back to the rotation. David Price, I've seen it a million times. Starting pitchers can play up in the bullpen. I get it. It's going to make people uncomfortable, Hugh, because everyone's planned for this guy to be the next top of the rotation guy, and this would change his trajectory. I get it, but I'm willing to do it to save the bullpen. Hugh, where do you come down? Andrew Painter's the best pitching prospect they've had here in 20 years. Would you move him to the bullpen?
You know what? You make a compelling argument. I'm not going to lie about that, especially when you talk about the way that this bullpen has looked in the last couple outings that they've had, a little bit tired. But I look at it like this. I remember when I got here, because that was his timeline when I first got to town.
Yep,
and
a couple years ago.
unfortunately for him, he had the Tommy John and all the other good stuff. But the buzz and the excitement surrounding this young man, it was clear that he factored into their long-term plans as far as a starter is concerned. Third starter, whatever the case may be, he factored in huge to that. I think you'll stun his growth if you put him in the bullpen, Joe, and I don't want to do that. If there's some other there's some other options that I think that you could do in order to make this work. And initially I was thinking about putting Ranger, the guy in the bullpen, but this being Rangers' year, who knows? I just, for whatever reason, I feel like most baseball players are not, you just can't come to them and say, hey, this is what we need you to do. I'm going to do it, especially when you talk about the money that's going to be involved with Rangers.
Because he's a free agent.
Yeah, he's a free agent after this.
Now, he has been a reliever, though, in the past.
Yeah, he has. I mean, and that would probably be my first thought. My second thought would probably put Taijuan Walker in there, because I think he's a guy that has been in that role before, and even though his last outing wasn't the greatest, I mean, I think he would be serviceable in the bullpen. But I'm saving Andrew Painter for the rotation. That's what I would do.
215-592-9494. Where do you come down? It feels like we all know there's a problem, and everyone's just avoiding the elephant in the room, that they have a pitcher that could do this. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that Andrew Painter, if you just put him in the major leagues 3 weeks from now, could get people out in the bullpen. There's no doubt. I mean, he has elite stuff. He's already mowing down everyone he faces, wherever he is. It's Single A, Clearwater, making his way through the rehab here because they want to make him a starting pitcher, and he is one. That's fine. But I'm willing to change his trajectory. I'm willing to take him off this path for now because this bullpen is a problem. Hugh, you mentioned the last 3 or 4 days. They're ranked 29th in baseball in bullpen ERA. They have a 5.81 ERA of their bullpen. It's not just a problem now. It's a huge problem. 215-592-9494. Again, I look at this pitcher and I say, this is the answer to the problem. I think Ranger could do it, to your point. I think Ranger could help down there.
Or Taijuan.
I think they could help, but I don't know if they'd be elite at it. This kid with his stuff, I think he could be a difference maker in the bullpen. And let's be real, they don't need a starting pitcher this year. I mean, again, 3 months from now, they may have an injury and they need him. If you tell me right now, what do the Phillies need? No one's going to say a starting pitcher.
No, but I would like to see him in a rotation.
I know,
and I would like to
but
see
I need to win.
And not only that, I mean, even though we have Nola here for a while, you've been on the bed, you've been on the side that maybe Nola's starting to, reach his twilight years.
Yeah, he probably is.
A little bit earlier. So yeah, I want him to be the front line starter. I want him to be one of my starters.
I just feel like the Phillies don't need a fifth starter to win the World Series. They need an elite bullpen arm. And there's one in Clearwater, Florida. His name's Andrew Painter. 215-592-9494. Let's hear from Rob Thompson this weekend, talking about leaning on his high leverage guys, which he seems to do a lot, and right now it's not working.
You really had to lean on some of your higher leverage guys in the first month of the season. Does that worry you at all? I think there's something in the comment.
Well, again, it's just part of the season, and I think that'll even itself out over time. But we played so many close games there for a long period of time that, yeah, we did lean on them. But they're a pretty resilient group, and I think we've taken care of them, too, at the same time.
See, he says that, but Hugh, because he only trusts 3 of his 7 guys down there, I'm starting to wonder if they're going to get worn out, right? The Alvarado's been really good. Strom's been mostly really good. Kerkering's been a little up and down, but he's obviously one of the better guys. If Dombrowski doesn't get him some help, he's going to wear those 3 that are actually good out by August. They got to figure it. They need a bullpen arm quickly here, and obviously Jordan Romano, not that guy. Hugh, we thought he was getting better.
He was turning the corner.
Whew.
Had a little rough weekend.
Yeah, rough weekend. I mean, he almost blew a 7-run lead. Let's hear from Romano after the game on Saturday when he gave up a whole bunch of runs that 9th inning.
You don't feel like today is something that's going to spark. You feel like you can lead today and feel confident the next time
you know what's honestly crazy to me? It's I went out there and I kind of executed what I wanted to do. It was just the worst result possible. I wanted to go out there. I wanted to drive the zone with my heater. Throw the slider in there for strikes, and I did that, just got crushed.
I did that. I just got crushed, says Jordan Romano. Does that make you feel better or worse that he felt good about his pitches?
You're going to get mad at me when I say this.
Oh, no.
But he sounded like he just had a bad day. Like, why you look at me like that, Joe?
He came into a game where they're winning by 7 runs against the Marlins, almost lost.
I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
I'm just listening to what he said and his delivery, and it just sounds like he had a bad day. I mean, that listen, and that's not me being a company man, anything like that.
I mean, that is company man talk.
Kill that today.
It's company man talk.
I'm listening to his demeanor. It was just like, hey, man, he just had a bad day.
His ERA for the season is 15.
No, yeah, and he had his last outing was better than this outing, but that's what I heard when he now he has to come out there and he has to redeem himself. But it didn't sound like a guy who felt like. You remember a few weeks ago, we were talking about his velocity and everything. He said he felt fine.
And his velocity was up. He just got smashed.
Yeah. It feels like he's still trying to work some things out.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
I'm just telling you.
The guy's a 15 ERA.
You asked me what I heard.
You called the Marlins tomato cans 5 minutes ago. And now,
no, they are tomato cans.
Well, they teed off on him.
They did.
Like it was batting practice.
But I guess what I'm not defending anything. But what I'm saying is.
Company man Douglas is right.
Everybody's looking at me. I'm trying to say it in a way that y'all
the
YouTube
people are going to kill you for this.
The YouTube people, they're going to kill me.
Yeah.
But no, it doesn't sound like he's in a bad spot. It just sounded like he had a bad day.
Well, it was a very bad day. Luckily, Topper got him out before he actually blew the game. 215-592-9494. Should the Phillies move Andrew Painter to the bullpen? I would start the process right now. I understand his development. Everyone wants him to be a starter. We'll figure that out next year and the year after that. I got to get him in the bullpen.
Like, you can't have this.
No, because I think he could be the difference between winning the World Series or not.
What we need tonight, we need Nola to go. He got to give us 6 to 7 innings.
What about 8 and 9 with this bullpen? Well, every night you need the bullpen. I need Painter in the bullpen now. All right, Buzz in for Kyle today. Buzz, what are you thinking here as the Phillies bullpen is currently 29th in baseball with a 5.81 ERA? Should they pull the Painter trigger?
Yeah, no, I'm not pulling the trigger just yet. Listen, I know that it's tempting. I know the bullpen has obviously been a huge issue. 29th in baseball, I know it feels like every year, if you polled every baseball fan, do you have a problem in your bullpen? Everyone would say yes. The Phillies actually have a bullpen problem right now. I'll give you the flip side of it, though. You just made the joke about, like, Nola needs to go 8 innings. It feels like every starter is going to need to go 8 innings. How about how worn out these starters are going to go? This might be the problem on April 21st, but by June, July, August, these starters are going to be worn out because Thompson doesn't trust going to anyone in that bullpen, and I worry about that as well. We've kind of heard in the preseason during spring training, Thompson allude to the idea they might go to a 6-man rotation once Painter comes up. I'd rather go to that model. I'd rather put Ranger Suarez in the bullpen if you gave me the choice, like Hugh Douglas mentioned. I'm more worried, A, about this guy's development, B, how many innings these starters are going to have to take down. They've been pretty fortunate when it comes to starter injuries, in recent years as well. You imagine at some point, maybe one of those guys has to go on an IL stint, or you at least have to prepare for the possibility. No, I'm not stunting this guy's growth, and I think you might actually need him more in a starting role, and one of those other guys go down the bullpen, even if you're looking narrowly at the 2025 season.
215-592-9494. I want to push this button. Andrew Painter is healthy. He's throwing heat down at single A. He's going to be ready here in a couple months to be a starter. I want to put him in the bullpen starting now. And part of it for me is that I'm not trying to make him a 1-inning reliever because he obviously can be stretched out. He's a starter. I think of him as a 2 or 3 inning guy. You're winning in the 6th inning, 3-1. He finishes that game. It's like the old school fireman kind of reliever. I think it could help your starting rotation, could help your bullpen. He's a difference maker. And look, I don't think the Phillies need a 5th starter to win the World Series. They need a star bullpen arm. Where do you come down?